Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos put a lot of work into getting themselves TV ready, and it starts with their respective nighttime routines. The couple opened up about the unique ways they get ready for bed on the Wednesday, February 11th episode of Live with Kelly and Mark. During their start of show discussion, Ripa said she sleeps in a T-Rex position, which causes pain in her arms and hands. Executive producer Michael Gelman shared a potential solution to her pain, suggesting she wrap towels around her arms and secure them with an elastic band to prevent them from bending toward her chest. Though Ripa didn't seem opposed to the idea, she joked, "I don't know how much more I can subject Mark to." She then showed off several of her nighttime products, including a jelly face mask. "I sleep in it, and it melts into your skin. And in the morning, I peel it off, and it's like a miracle. I look just like this," she explained. Ripa went on to put in her retainers and put on her pair of glasses. "And then I say to Mark, 'So, what do you want to watch tonight?'" she joked. As Consuelos helped her tie a towel around one of her arms, she added, "How much more is Mark supposed to tolerate?" Consuelos, for his part, said he uses nasal dilators and mouth tape every night, pretending to lean in and kiss her husband. Ripa said, "And then we go, 'Good night, honey.'" While the couple have developed multi-step nighttime routines over the years, Ripa told audience members that didn't always used to be the case. "Let me tell you something, because I see there's young people here. I see young people here. We used to be hot and sexy," she quipped, retainers still in her mouth. "We didn't know it at the time. We had no idea that we were cute in any way. We didn't used to have to take vitamins." Refusing Consuelo's request to pop out her retainer, Ripa continued, "I didn't used to wear a retainer. I didn't need glasses. I didn't put on hormone cream. I didn't even talk about the hormone cream because the whole rest of me is slippery, too. Very slippery. I'm a very slippery person. I go into bed. I look nuts for the love of you people." Ripa and Consuelos met as co-stars on All My Children in 1995 and tied the knot 1 year later. They went on to welcome 3 kids, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, and have been co-hosting Live Together since 2023. The couple are no strangers to poking fun at themselves on TV. Earlier this month, Consuelos shared a photo of himself with a missing tooth while recounting how his temporary tooth implant popped out during a flight. "As we're taking off, it pops out," he said on the show's February 4th episode of flying to Canada to film an episode of Riverdale. "Now, I gotta be on this flight for the next 5.5 hours, and I gotta make it through without swallowing it and keeping it up there. And I luckily had my flipper with me, but I didn't tell anybody. I was like, I have just 1 day of work, a few scenes." Before getting the permanent implant inserted upon returning home, he decided to go toothless for a double date with Ripa and their friends. "It was a bit of freedom to go out in New York City with no tooth," he said while showing off his funny photo. "They called it Showtime for a reason. Lights, laugh tracks, a whir of cameras, and a cadence that smoothed the worst of life's rough edges into neat 5-minute segments." But for Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, who had learned early on how performance and private life braided into one another, real life, the messy, ridiculous, tender parts, always reasserted itself the minute the studio doors closed. That Wednesday morning started like any other Live with Kelly and Mark episode. The opening banter, a rapid parade of celebrity guests, the sort of rehearsed spontaneity that made viewers feel as though they were sitting on a couch in a friend's living room. The crowd loved them for that, for the two of them who could volley jokes at lightning speed and then, in the next breath, reveal something stubbornly human. That day's reveal, amusing and oddly intimate, arrived like a punchline that had refused to stay small. Kelly had been talking about sleep, how everyone seemed to have one, but no 2 routines were the same. She mimed, arms tucked in like tiny wings, and announced solemnly that she slept in the T-Rex position. The audience tittered, but the truth was immediate and visible on her face. Her arms cramped, her fingers tingled, her shoulders ached. Michael Gelman, the show's executive producer, leaned in with a producer's blend of earnestness and comic timing, and suggested she wrap towels around her arms and secure them with an elastic band. It sounded absurd, the sort of backstage hack that should come with a warning and a laugh track. Kelly rolled with it. She was a master of self-deprecation. It was part of her charm. "I don't know how much more I can subject Mark to," she said, and the crowd loved her more for saying it. Then she reached into her prop bag, or maybe into the private cabinet that only public figures with generous budgets and curious beauty regimes maintain, and displayed, like a magician revealing a rabbit, a jelly face mask. "I sleep in it," she explained, as if confessing to wearing pajamas to a formal gala. "It melts into your skin. In the morning, I peel it off, and it's like a miracle. I look just like this." She waggled her face at the audience, retainer tucked in neatly, glasses perched so easily on the end of her nose that the whole scene felt like a practice sketch. Mark, who had been watching her with that special mixture of amusement and fond exasperation spouses cultivate over decades, reached to help with the towel around her arm. The cameras caught the tenderness, the brush of hand, the practiced nod, and viewers who only tuned in for light gossip found themselves suddenly seeing the choreography of a marriage. Mark was no stranger to odd bedtime rituals. He described, with mock solemnity, his nightly use of nasal dilators and mouth tape, the sort of medicalized accessories that sound like props from a futuristic play. He leaned in as if to kiss her, and Kelly, mouth half full of retainer, shot back, "And then we go, 'Good night, honey.'" The audience laughed, and somewhere between the laughter and the applause, something simple and true hummed. These were two adults, reinventing sleep into an ongoing comedy routine. After the show, when the stage lights dimmed and the makeup artists packed their brushes, the real work began, not in the studio, but in the rooms they shared. The couple's home operated on a rhythm all its own: flung towels, the whispered dissonance of late-night television, the slow hum of air filters and refrigerators, the soft steps of children who had once been small and who now navigated adolescence with the awkward confidence of teenagers. Kelly and Mark had built a life in which bedroom intrusions and bathroom confessions were part of a larger, generous performance. This was the natural extension of that. They performed for the world and then took a quieter, less polished turn for themselves. In the bedroom, Kelly's T-Rex contortions met the pragmatic suggestions of people who loved her and worried about her. Mark, with the patience of a man who had been told 1,000 different ways to adjust a towel, would tuck it into place, then stand too straight and shake his head. "You're ridiculous," he would say. But it was the kind of ridicule that fed intimacy rather than drained it. He had once flown across the continent with a temporary tooth implant loose in his mouth, a story he told with the exact right mixture of embarrassment and bravado, and fished an evening of freedom from that embarrassment by going out without the tooth. Those moments, the missing tooth and the retainer in-mouth jokes, were not private shame but shared history, moments of vulnerability that had been woven into jokes and then spun back into a more durable kind of affection. They had been young once, of course. They met on a soap set in 1995, two young actors with longer hair and fewer certainties, playing lovers on All My Children and discovering in the rehearsal rooms that their on-screen chemistry had the troubling habit of becoming off-screen reality. They were wed a year later, and their lives took the trajectory many dream about but few truly navigate: careers that expanded, children who arrived with both the chaos and the grace of new life, and careers that transformed into something more collaborative and theatrical. They were parents to Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, navigating the peculiarities of public life while trying, with varying degrees of success, to keep the house from becoming a revolving door of reporters and contract negotiations. The routines, then, were less about vanity and more about survival. The jelly mask Kelly swore by, a shimmering, translucent thing she liked to say melted into skin, was less a secret of youth maintenance than a ritual that allowed her to take a breath. Retainers, glasses, hormone creams, and nightly vitamins. These were badges of a life lived fully, of bodies that had been through pregnancies and productions, and the kind of late-night shooting schedules that made sleep an aspirational item. Mark's nasal dilators and mouth tape weren't just about airway management. They were another system, a stubborn attempt to reclaim rest in the face of a world that interrupted it constantly. At night,